there everybody, it's Cheyenne. So I wanted to make this video much earlier. So I went to go and see Gem the movie opening weekend for you guys. I went to go see it on a Saturday night after I had already been at work for 9 hours and I was tired and all I wanted to do was go to sleep, but I was like, no, I have to go see the Gem movie because I know everyone's been asking what my thoughts on it have been. So I went to go and see it. Went home, got home at like midnight because I had to catch the very last showing of the film that they had that night. Filmed for an hour, just trying to get all of my thoughts out about the movie. And then when I went to edit it all, I realized that very little of it made any sense, partially because I was sleepy that day, but more importantly, because I was very confused about how I felt after I left the theater. Well, I went in genuinely expecting to just be super mad and to come out of the theater spitting fire. And when I came out of the theater, my feelings were much closer to meh. So I was really kind of not sure how I felt. I was like, well, does this mean the movie was not as bad as I thought it was? Or what does this mean? And I realized I needed to take a couple of days to kind of let it marinate in my brain because I genuinely wasn't sure. And I've kind of come to some conclusions, so even though I know at this point the movie has already bombed, nobody saw it, I do want to just talk about it in terms of what it means in terms of adaptations and, you know, female-led nostalgia properties and some stuff like that. So basically, my feelings about the film were this. I left the theater feeling meh, because the film on its own, just as a film, was kind of too mediocre to be mad at. If I had seen it on TV late at night when I was 12 or 13 years old, I probably would have really, really liked it. But as a film, it was wholly mediocre. It was pretty bog standard, paint by numbers, performance coming of age story. You could have replaced them with just about any like band style characters. So as a film, it's not great, but it's not Showgirls. You know, I honestly kind of wish it had been Showgirls. That would have been more entertaining. As a Gem adaptation though, it just does not work. And the main reason it does not work is the thing that I have been harping on this entire time, which is the tone and the characterizations. Probably the best character in terms of characterization was actually Aja, but Hayley Kiyoko totally sold me. You know, she's like the rebel one, and she's like, oh, her head is, she has an undercut, ooh, scandalous, and she's like a hacker, and like, oh, she said she went to juvie once, OMG. Sure, cool, go with it. Shayna probably acquitted herself the next best of the holograms just because she's actually in it the least. She's clearly the least important member of the group. I wonder why that is. Like, it's like they kept the superficial traits of the characters because she sewed and she was the fashion designer. But she genuinely didn't have a lot to say, and I think that, like, because Shayna is soft-spoken in the cartoon because Shayna is kind of shy and kind of reserved. But she still speaks to people, like she's just kind of reserved, and it doesn't come off like she's reserved. It doesn't come off like she's not saying things because she's shy or she's uncomfortable. She just doesn't get lines. I had some major issues with Kimber's characterization. Now Kimber in the cartoon is kind of the Scrappy-Doo of the group, and I'm saying that lovingly. I actually don't hate Scrappy-Doo like everyone else in the world, but she's the kind of young obnoxious kid, and she's really over-enthusiastic, and sometimes she kind of takes things a little bit too far. Kimber posting the video of Jerrica, totally something that Kimber would do. When consequences happen, she feels like guilt over things, and she'll be like, oh shit, I fucked up, I'm so sorry, Jerrica. So first off, that doesn't happen in the film. Freaking out that she's posted this video, and she's just like, no, I'm not sorry, I posted it, what are you gonna do about it? And everyone is really flip about the fact that Jerrica did not want any of this. And then on top of that, other than that particular moment, I didn't really feel her characterization was Kimber. She was supposed to kind of be Jerrica's morality chain throughout the movie. It's just like she was just too kind of sweet and bland for me. Like Kimber has to be a little bit of a bratty half pint for me. In a way, Rio was totally correct in his characterization in terms that Rio was kind of an asshole. Let's be real. Rio has always been kind of an asshole. He is Erica Raymond's son, and he is the music intern for Starlight Records. So he's basically their gopher. He's there to drive them around while they're in LA. But for some reason, immediately, he's just a complete asshole to them and is like, ladies, I don't like any of you, and I'm an asshole, and reasons. His chemistry with Audrey Peoples is kind of odd. You know, like they have the scenes where you can see him kind of warming up to her, and them bonding, and they have conversations about duality and like Jem versus Jerrica, which doesn't. It's weird here because she's not a separate identity in the same way, but whatever. And he knows, obviously, because he's there, and he's like, oh, this is Jerrica. Her stage name is Jem, because Jem is much closer to like a stage name. You can see where the beats are supposed to be, but the chemistry between these actors, it's not bad chemistry. Like, you definitely feel like he's warming up to her, but it definitely comes off much more like an older brother, younger sister thing. That may be partially because the actor playing Rio looks like 10 years older than Audrey Peoples to me, because they cast everybody to look so young. But it genuinely feels like they're warming up to each other, and they're definitely like forming a bond, but then they just kiss randomly at the end of the movie, and you're like, okay. Now we're going to talk about Audrey Peoples as Jem. I don't think Audrey Peoples is a bad actress. Audrey Peoples is playing the character as the character is written in the script. That characterization is wrong. So, like, she didn't exactly do a bad job, but she was not Jem and she was not Jerrica. She starts the movie kind of mumbly and twitchy. Her acting kind of reminded me of Kristen Stewart's in Twilight a little bit, and I know that sounds bad, but if that's where you're starting from so that you have a place to go, totally, go with it, cool. But by the end, there's not that much difference in terms of her acting. She's still mumbling, she's just like smiling a little bit more. But the thing that I think was really the most upsetting to me about Jerrica / Jem in this movie was not even necessarily that she's kind of mumbly or that her characterization is different. It was the fact that Jem is never something she wants. It is never something she wants to do. It is never something she seems to want to be. She never seems happy doing it at all. So it's already not her choice to post the video on YouTube, and then when it does become a thing, she is mortified and is like, Kimber, take this down, and the only reason that she ends up going forward with any of it is because of some financial issues that Aunt Bailey is having, and they want to keep the house and stuff. I mean, in the cartoon, Jerrica kind of became Jem out of necessity, but it was still her choice. It has always been her choice. Jem is a persona that Jerrica created herself. Now in the cartoon, it's a little different because it's literally a secret identity. So she's not creating it because she can't do it. But there have been, like, the comics right now are definitely using Jem kind of as a way of Jerrica getting over some stage fright and stuff. But it's always a persona that Jerrica has input in and Jerrica has agency in. And Jem, as a concept, has always been a power fantasy. I feel like for a lot of women, that idea is really, really empowering. All of the power and all of the empowerment of that idea is literally just taken away from her. And it really upsets me. She never seems like this is something she wants to be doing. She's basically kind of blackmailed into being Jem. She goes to Erica Raymond, and she's like, Erica Raymond, my family is losing our house. Can I have an advance or something? And she's like, sure, but you have to sign this contract that you'll be the only one who's in the band and not your sisters. For some reason, she's like, you have to do it because we own the copyright to Jem, we own the name, we own your costumes, we can replace you because no one knows who you are. So if you don't do it, then I'll just find someone else to be Jem. It doesn't even matter. It doesn't matter what you want, Jerrica. You have to be Jem because the script said so. Honestly, like, she seemed so much more interested in the robot and her dad and stuff. It's like, maybe you should go into a career in STEM, Jerrica. Oh, the one thing that did work about the movie 100% for me, just about, was the end credits. The end credits scene, because we finally actually do get the Misfits. Spoilers. Literally that one scene of some actresses that we barely spend any time with was so much more enjoyable than 90% of the actual film. When the end teaser is more satisfying than your film to that extent, you probably need to re-go over a few things. I also would not be shocked if they added that after the trailer backlash started to happen, but whatever. If the film had been the first episode of like Nickelodeon doing a live action reboot, and then that scene was the last scene, I would be like, okay, cool, because now we know like this is what the status quo is going to be every week, sweet, let's go. But this movie is not getting a sequel, you guys. Like, it's not. As bad as the movie was, that makes me really sad. The thing about it not doing well is the message that studios are going to take away from this is not going to be, hey, maybe we should work on the characterization and scripts and plotting of our films, or maybe we should have tried to stick to something that was closer to the tone of the original, or maybe we should actually take a look into what actually makes a franchise beloved before we make an adaptation of it, guys. Because upsetting adaptations and bad scripts and films with bad characterization happen all the time in Hollywood and make money. I mean, but the takeaway that most of the studios are going to take from this movie is going to be films with female leads and of female targeted nostalgia properties, or really of female targeted properties in general, do not make money. We'll ignore the fact that The Hunger Games makes money. We'll ignore the fact that My Little Pony Friendship is Magic is a fucking phenomenon, and that series is not just watched by bronies. We'll ignore that, like, we'll ignore all of that stuff. And we'll just never adapt anything that little girls loved ever again. Or really make any films that are based on that audience ever again that are going to be good. There's this idea that things that are for little girls are not important and don't matter, and that young women do not deserve to be paid attention to as a marketing demographic. And that is such bullshit on so many levels. And women geeks do spend money on shit. Like, do you know how much money the Disney Princesses franchise takes in every year? It's in the billions, you guys. Billions. Do you, like, and I know for a fact that that is what Hollywood is going to take away from this movie. They're not going to think, okay, maybe the next time that we do a film that is going to be aimed at young women, maybe we should have some women in the fucking production team. No, they're just not going to do it. Or if they do, they're not going to give it any type of effort at all. They're just going to be like, whatever, I'm just going to do this movie and get it over with. And we deserve so much more than that. Female geekdom, this was our first bit of something that was 100% like a girl nostalgia thing that definitely does have a big, very geeky fandom around it, because even before this, there have always been Jem cosplayers. The Jem comic book is selling really well. There's always been Jem fanfiction. There have always been people who have kept this franchise alive. It's because it was special to us, and it's because it was one of the few things that we got that we felt was really good and that we all kind of embraced and got around. And we're not going to get that anymore in Hollywood. We are genuinely not going to get that. They're not going to take the message of this, of like, maybe we should put some actual fucking effort into making a film based on a nostalgia property, or maybe we should have women involved, or maybe we shouldn't have cut out Christy Marks. Like, they're not going to think like that. What they're going to do is just continue to do what Hollywood and geek culture in general really has always done, which is fucking ignore us and act like the things that we care about or the concerns we have or even just the shit that we like does not matter. And we do matter. All of us fucking matter, and we deserve fucking better than this. So yeah, that's it for this week. I've grouched myself out. So if you guys saw it, what did you think? I want to know if it's not just me who's still really frustrated with this. I will hopefully be doing some happier videos soon than this, because I just can't with this. I can't anymore.